B553.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to refer the Honourable Member to my reply to Parliamentary Questions B/989 and B1/1001 on 11th of July 2023 on the revamping of the Mauritius National Identity Card project, and Parliamentary Question B/1442 on 14th of November 2023 on the use of the new digital identity card in the next general elections. Since the parliamentary question regarding the use of the new digital identity card, which I am informed is the same as the new mobile identity card, has been put again, I will seize this opportunity to provide additional information regarding the mobile identity card and at the same time address the implications regarding the use of the mobile identity card during National Assembly elections. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Mauritius National Identity Card scheme was introduced and implemented in Mauritius in 2013 under a government-to-government agreement between the Republic of Singapore and the Republic of Mauritius. The Honourable Member would recall that in my reply, I also informed the House that following the private notice question of the then Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Paul Raymond Béranger, at the sitting of 30th of October 2012, the then Minister of Information and Communication Technology informed the House that in 2009, the State Informatics Limited launched a request for proposal for a new Mauritius National Identity Card project to 7 shortlisted suppliers in accordance with Section 3(1) of the Public Procurement Act, which provides that procurement is to be undertaken by the most competitive method of procurement available in all circumstances. In response to that tender exercise, 3 out of the 7 shortlisted bidders submitted proposals, and the Bid Evaluation Committee recommended that award be made to SAGEM for a value of 7.2 million euros, amounting to approximately 317 million rupees at that time. However, after the visits of the then Prime Minister to Singapore in September and subsequently in December 2010, he gave instruction to cancel the bidding exercise for unknown reasons and to enter into a G2G agreement with Singapore through the Singapore Corporation Enterprise in partnership with Crimson Logic Private Limited for the provision in the first instance of consultancy services for the sum of 10,916,204 rupees. Thereafter, on 17th of October 2012, an agreement for implementation of a new national identity card system was signed between the Government of Mauritius and the Singapore Corporation Enterprise for a sum of 1,111,256,305 rupees as capital cost. So we come from 317 million rupees to 1,111,256,305 rupees. So it is worth noting that the contract signed between the parties contained a non-disclosure clause. Mr. Speaker, sir, following the advice received from the Ministry of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation, that the hardware and software of the former system had reached their end of support and end of life, my government decided in March 2020 to revamp the previous system. Hence, following a bidding exercise launched on 12th of April 2022, the contract for the supply, implementation, operations, and maintenance of a turnkey solution for the National Smart Card-based identity system and a smart app-based mobile ID solution was awarded to the consortium Thales Arel Malak Technologies. The contract was signed on 15th of February 2023 with an implementation period of 1 year for a capital cost of approximately 374 million rupees as compared to the more than 1.1 billion rupees which was incurred in 2013 as capital cost. As such, the new Mauritius National Identity Card system, which was launched on Friday, 23rd of February this year, is aligned with international trends and provides several new facilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, so far the physical version of the Mauritius National Identity Card 3.0 has been introduced. The mobile ID, which is part of the system, will be launched shortly after the final required technical verifications have been completed and the necessary process from Google Play Store and Apple App Store for the publishing of the mobile ID applications are completed. The National Identity Card Unit of my office is working in close collaboration with the Central Informatics Bureau of the Ministry of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation and the consortium Thales Arel Malak Technologies Limited to finalize the coming into operation of the mobile ID. I am informed that same will be stored securely in the digital wallet on a smart device. The digital wallet is a secured application which can be downloaded on a smart mobile device and is used to store digital documents. The introduction of the digital wallet and the mobile ID will complement the advancements in identity card technology, reflecting global trends in mobile-based identity solutions and digital transformation initiatives. Thus, with the implementation of the mobile ID, Mauritius will become the first country on the African continent to bring in a fully interoperable digital ID wallet based on international ISO standards. Similar digital wallets are already deployed in Australia and the United States of America and will soon be introduced in Europe. It is worth noting that our country will embrace this digital wallet app to hold an electronic version of their identity card, that is the mobile ID, even before the European Union, since these ISO-compliant electronic deployments will only start in the EU countries as from 2026 as part of new EU regulations. Thus, the mobile ID, which is the electronic version of the physical ID card, will soon be available on the citizens' mobile devices, enhancing accessibility, security, and usability, and will be one of the digital documents to be stored on the digital wallet. The mobile ID contains the same information found on a physical ID document, but with state-of-the-art security features available through digital technology. In view of the prevalence of smart devices in Mauritius, citizens will be able to use their mobile ID in lieu of their physical ID as a proof of identity. Furthermore, a mobile verifier app would be available free of charge to any citizen or organization to verify the genuineness of the mobile ID. The mobile ID will provide a convenient and secure technology for citizens within an infrastructure which will ensure security, privacy, and integrity of data from enrollment to the in-field verification process. It will also contain several facilities, such as the option of reporting change of address or loss of identity cards. Moreover, it will include digital signing of electronic documents, amongst others. In this context, the National Identity Card Act was amended through the Finance Miscellaneous Provisions Act 2023 to ensure that both the physical identity card and the mobile ID operate within a legal framework. The amended Act provides that the new identity card system shall have the necessary features to ensure the security and confidentiality of information contained therein, and to give the same legal standing to the physical identity card and the mobile ID as proof of identity. Provision was also made in the Act that any citizen registering for a mobile ID shall already be holder of a physical national identity card. Mr. Speaker, sir, moreover, the National Identity Card Regulations of 2024 have been promulgated to regulate the layout of the new ID card and new features such as the option to have digital certificates. In the same vein, the National Identity Card Mobile ID Regulations 2024 were introduced to, inter alia, regulate the use of the mobile ID. Also, a new set of regulations is being prepared by the Attorney General's Office in consultation with the National Identity Card Unit and the Ministry of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation pertaining to card reading. I am further informed that the digital wallet application, which will store the mobile ID in the first instance, will be able to accommodate other digital documents, such as the birth certificate and the marriage certificate. Discussions are ongoing between my office, the Ministry of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation, and other stakeholders to explore the possibility of storing other documents in the digital wallet. The digital wallet is protected by the existing security features on the smartphone of the citizen. Furthermore, the consent of the citizen is needed to access his or her mobile ID. Therefore, the digital wallet will be managed by the citizen himself or herself. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regards parts A and B of the question, I have already stated in my reply to Parliamentary Question B/1442 on 14th of November 2023 regarding the use of the new digital identity card in the next general elections that the Electoral Commissioner has a well-established and regulated procedure already in place for the authentication of voters at the time of voting. Given that this question is coming again, let me remind the honorable member that pursuant to Section 41 of the Constitution, the constitutional powers to organize elections rest in the Electoral Supervisory Commission. Section 41(1) of the Constitution provides that, and I quote, "The Electoral Supervisory Commission shall have general responsibility for and shall supervise the registration of electors for the election of members of the Assembly and the conduct of elections of such members, and the Commission shall have such powers and other functions relating to such registration and such elections as may be prescribed," unquote. Moreover, Regulation 27 of the National Assembly Elections Regulations of 2014 provides that, and I quote, subsection 1, "Every elector desiring to record his vote shall present himself to the presiding officer in the appropriate voting room at the polling station at which he is entitled to vote, state his name, and produce his national identity card or any other acceptable proof of his identity." Subsection 2, "The presiding officer, after satisfying himself that the name of the elector appears on the copy of the part of the register containing the names of electors entitled to vote in that voting room, shall, subject to Regulation 29, deliver a ballot paper to the elector," unquote. Mr. Speaker, sir, as already stated earlier, in my reply to Parliamentary Question B/1442 on 14th of November 2023, there is a well-established process for authentication of the voter on the voting day, which is as follows. In order to cast his vote, a voter has to produce his national identity card or passport as acceptable proof of his identity to the presiding officer in the voting room at the polling station where he is entitled to vote. Before issuing a ballot paper to the voter, the presiding officer verifies the ID number and the name of the voter in the presiding officer's copy of Register of Electors. The presiding officer's copy of register contains the surname and other names, NID, address, gender of the elector, and as well the elector's number. And verification if the photo appearing on the national identity card or passport of the voter corresponds with the voter. This physical verification of the national identity card or passport is made to ensure the identity of the voter. I did also make reference to the fact that in both the 2014 and 2019 National Assembly elections, the following documents were used as acceptable proof of identity: national identity card, passport, driving license, and bus pass. Mr. Speaker, sir, Regulation 2 of the National Assembly Elections Regulations 2014 defines acceptable proof of identity as such document establishing the identity of a person as the Electoral Commissioner may, after consultation with the Electoral Supervisory Commission, determine. Thus, based on Regulation 2 of the National Assembly Elections Regulations 2014, The only acceptable proof of identity is, since the Village Council elections 2020, either a national identity card or passport. This measure was also adopted for the Rodrigues Regional Assembly elections of 2022. Mr. Speaker, sir, the House would recall that I also mentioned that Regulation 30, subsection 6 of the National Assembly Elections Regulations 2014 provides that, and I quote, subsection A, no person shall, by means of 1. A camera, 2. A mobile phone, 3. A photographic or an electronic device or any other device through which a photograph may be taken or film may be made, take a photograph or make a film of a ballot paper, whether the ballot paper is marked or unmarked, unquote. However, I am informed by the Electoral Commissioner that an elector may be in possession of his mobile phone or any other devices mentioned in Regulation 30, subsection 6, in the voting room, but he is not allowed to use same in the voting or counting room. As I have already stated, the mobile identity card is being finalized. However, once it is launched, the possibility to use it for authentication of voters will require, in the first instance, the conduct of a feasibility study regarding, amongst others, manpower and training requirements, equipment including verification devices in the voting rooms of all polling stations, procedures regarding the authentication process, and financial implications thereof. I am informed by the Electoral Commissioner that in view of the wide-ranging implications for the introduction of mobile ID as proof of identity in the voting room, it will not be possible to make use of mobile ID for the coming elections. Thank you.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. J'ai écouté avec attention les 22 minutes de réponse du Premier ministre. Prime Minister stated in his answer, citizens will be able to use their mobile ID in lieu of their physical ID as a proof of identity. And in the meantime, we have now this new mobile ID regulations, February 2024, which states, Section 5E, the mobile ID can be used to authenticate the holder. I have listened very carefully, Honorable Prime Minister, to your last sentence. May I, therefore, ask the Honorable Prime Minister to take a commitment today in this House that no mobile ID shall be used to authenticate at any time any voter in any voting room for the next National Assembly elections.
Monsieur le Président, je pense que peut-être que j'aurai besoin de plus de 22 minutes. Parce que si en 22 minutes, ce que j'ai dit, c'est tellement clair, mais si l'honorable membre n'a pas compris et il me repose la même question, c'est que peut-être que je dois avoir une demi-journée pour expliquer. J'ai bien dit à la fin de ma réponse, let me repeat, et c'est surtout à la fin de ma réponse, I am informed. Ce n'est pas à moi de prendre la décision. I am informed. Je le dis en français, peut-être pour qu'on puisse mieux comprendre. So I am informed by the Electoral Commissioner, c'est le commissaire électoral, that in view of the wide-ranging implications for the introduction of mobile ID as proof of identity in the voting room, it will not be possible to make use of mobile ID. ce ne sera pas possible d'utiliser le mobile ID pour aller voter. Qu'est-ce que je peux dire plus que ça? Ben, si vous me donnez la permission, je peux répéter ça en créole mauricien.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I pick it from the last sentence that the Prime Minister just mentioned. The Prime Minister mentioned about the wide implications. Can the Prime Minister thus inform the House whether there are technical and legal implications with regards to the use of mobile ID for the purpose of voting? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the Regulation 27(1) of the National Assembly Elections Regulations of 2014 provides that, and I quote, "Every elector desiring to record his vote shall present himself to the presiding officer in the appropriate voting room at the polling station at which he is entitled to vote, state his name, and produce his national identity card or other acceptable proof of his identity," unquote. So, if the mobile ID is to be used and is determined by the Electoral Supervisory Commission to be any other acceptable proof of a voter's identity, it would, of course, then be legally in order to use the mobile ID. However, there are major technical constraints for the use of the mobile ID for the purpose of voting. In order to verify, first of all, electronically the authenticity of voters using the digital identity card, all voting rooms at all the polling stations, and there are around 2,300, will have to be equipped with verification machines. And that entails also financial implications. That is why the Electoral Commissioner has said that for the coming elections, that would not be possible.
His reply, Honourable Prime Minister, mentioned about a mobile ID verifier app. May I know whether the MNIC unit, which falls under the purview of his office, has already procured this mobile ID verifier app?
Well, the honourable member should know according to standing orders. When he puts a specific question with regard to voting at the next general election, he should restrain and limit himself to the questions. Well, leader of the opposition, he's the last one to speak. He doesn't know, not even know how to put questions. So he's making comment.
Order. What is happening, Honorable Tim? Where you're concerned in this?
Yeah.
Can you show me your locus standi?